Yeah. Going live.
Very good. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. A warm welcome from my side. I see that we have a few people in Zoom and a few people on YouTube looking at today's presentation, and really it's super open, right? If you have any questions, feel free to text any questions in the chat box. Happy to address. But pretty straightforward. Today we will talk about the BFG Adrenaline program, really a program where we invest in post-MVP stage web3 startups. But before we jump into Q&A and the AMA, let me just run down really briefly about who we are, what we do exactly, and then so that you also get a better understanding of, who I am and stuff like that. So to kick it off, very briefly, we're investors, and what we focus on is pre-seed deals, deals that are really, or teams that are really pre-MVP or post-MVP stage. So for the Adrenaline program, we are looking at post-MVP stage teams, so really teams that are established already, who have, a product at hand, who may be launched already or are shortly before launch. And the program is 6 weeks. We will make sure that we prepare you best to launch and really get to stage where possibly you can get first revenue, possibly you can get first partners, users that really want your product, right? So in terms of ticket size, we do around 100K. In the Adrenaline program, we can make around 5 investments, 5 to 7, and we focus on global startups, right? So really anyone from anywhere, we don't really care. If you apply, we will look at you and then see whether we can work together. There are a few vertical angles that we look at. So really every Web3 space is quite interesting. But most importantly, I guess, is to say that we want to have teams or ideas that have the potential to disrupt future use cases, or use cases that are not too, I guess, too competitive already. Like, for example, creating the next crypto exchange. That's like you're, a few years too late for that. But anything, very like innovative while staying disruptive for the next 2 years, that would be something we would be looking at. Behind the team, you have a set of experts, generalists, and also specialists who focus exactly on early stage business development, really, and everyone on this slide, is at your disposal to give you advice, feedback, and really to push you to become better. And also, maybe to put it this way, we try to hint or make you aware of blind spots that you might have, and also save you time, right? So for example, every founder has to be proficient in some way in accounting. Every founder has to have a certain sense for legal topics. Every founder has to be a good leader, somebody who knows how to structure a team, how to incentivize a team, how to inspire a team. And for all these topics, we have previous use cases, previous examples, and dealt with these things, so we can just generally save you time and provide you with the templates of, for example, how to make valuations, how to come up with a valuation, how to design tokenomics, how to lead a team, contracts, and stuff like that. And here's just an outline of a few people that we have invested in. So quite diverse background, people who come from the tech space, from the financial space, from some people actually just graduated uni, right? So really a very diverse set of people that we have invested in. And I guess most importantly, right, the most important thing that we look out for is remote first and international first. So we don't care where you are, and we would love you to focus on the international market and not just your local market. Very important as well is how we structure our backend. So we do have advisors that would be at your disposal. So anyone on this slide potentially would be having calls with you on a weekly basis almost, and we pay them. We would make sure that they're compensated, so they are almost, they are in fact for free to you, right? And those are people from the regulatory space, from the business space, serial entrepreneurs, really, really diverse group of people that would help you accelerate. And now really to the program, right? So we run the program again for 6 weeks, and we help you really to accelerate and launch your business, right? To really get to a stage where you become relevant, right, in some way or another. So the best case would be if you are, you just built your MVP and you struggle to get, over 500 users, right? That would be a stage that we love, because we know how hard it is to get past that phase of, what to do after launching the product. And we have our frameworks, and we would be able to help you, but it's always a two-way street. You need to be able to, be in this driver's seat and take action. But again, with our guidance, right? That's exactly what we would offer. A few statistics. So we've been on the market since 2021, but our LPs and partners have been investing since 2012, really. So crypto OGs. We are establishing partnerships, like a lot of partnerships that are aimed to really help our founders. You get credits, you get Notion credits, you get HubSpot discounts, you get a lot of other benefits from our partnerships, speaker slots, discounts to conferences and stuff like that. We have invested in a few startups already, obviously, and some of them also already, won hackathons, gotten grants from layer 1, 2 protocols. So that is just a glimpse of a track record. By the way, we will send out this slide deck to everyone who registered to this event. So don't need to, take screenshots or anything. I will send everything over to you. A few testimonials. I think people liked it. Here, I guess in a nutshell, right, we have up until today, actually we received over 500 applications. I think it's 600 by now. And we will admit around 8 to 10 teams roundabout. We will interview, of course, a few as well. And really what we try to do is we run through the 6 weeks program, and then by the end we would invest up to 100K. We are in the news as well. By the way, check out our website. I think we just announced the partnership with Concordium, one of the protocols, and we will be announcing a few other partnerships that might be relevant to our teams. And here also a glimpse of how the program is structured. So before the program starts, actually we'll set up a call with you to understand, your status quo, and also discuss how we should best help you during the coming 6 weeks. And then the 6 weeks really has 2 checkpoints. One is to prove demand and evaluate performance, and then the second one is really to prepare for fundraise, right? Or to in other words, secure the 100K that BFG would offer. We do have weekly touch points. To be precise, we have around 2 to 3 weekly touch points. We will see each other on a very, very frequent basis. And really what we try to do is, help identify problems, help you accelerate and make introductions happen, right? So whatever you need, be it a partner introduction, investor introduction, we'll be able to facilitate that and get that going. If you are interested, the application deadline is in roughly 1 week. Today, the team will look over all current applications. So if you apply within the next 2 hours, we'll be seeing and giving you feedback immediately. Otherwise, you have time until the 30th, and we will give you feedback, and then you happily, take the next steps if happy to connect afterwards as well if you are too shy to ask your questions in this call. But connect with me on LinkedIn. We can discuss that, discuss anything over DM. And now I'd love to open up for any questions that you might have. So let me maybe jump over to the questions on YouTube. So do we have to move to the UK if we win? No, like you can stay wherever you want. We don't like, it is up to you where you incorporate. It is up to you where you live. So we don't really care where you are or where you incorporate. Okay. Would you be willing to invest in a company that is similar to one of your current portfolio companies? Yes, definitely, we would be willing. So if you are actually, building, let's say, the exact same product, like a startup that we actually already invested in, then we would still consider it. So definitely there will be an option. In case you have any more questions, feel free to unmute yourself or text in the chat. There's another one. Is this open to all types of Web3 startups? Yes. So generally, yes. But we do have a preference in terms of investment type. So we do generally prefer equity deals, right? In comparison or versus token deals, simply because in very rare cases you can justify a token this early on in your startup journey. We're talking about pre-seed, seed stage. There are only a few cases where you need a token. For example, if you need, if you're an infrastructure project, then a token might make sense. But if you're not, then usually you don't really need one. So we will be looking at equity investments. What do you expect in the application video? So in the video, really, what we would be interested in is the founder. So we'd love to understand who the founder team is, who you are, and maybe you can tell us, one story or something in an encounter that where you think that could convince us to invite you to an interview. So try to be creative as best as possible, and then we will check whether that convinced us, because after all, you're competing against 600 applicants, and you have to stand out somehow, right? So don't tell me that I guess you are this years old, you studied this. That's not really interesting. I think what will be interesting is why you are where you are and why you want to solve a problem exactly the way that you proposed, right? That will be interesting. So are we able to use the 100K in the business plan? So whatever you use the money for is up to you. So you pitch to us. If we give you the money, then obviously you can do with the money whatever you want. There's no like control in any way. Do you invest only on blockchain? We have a new SaaS business. Indeed, we have a Web3 mandate. So your business model that you apply for the program with has to have a Web3 angle. So you have to have some sort of blockchain component. What is your expected investment horizon? So a very good question. I think we are looking at easily 5 to 7 years, right? And that's why in the earlier I said equity deals, right? Because if it's a token deal, then the investment horizon is maybe 1 to 3 years. But if it's an equity deal, then you have skin in the game. You're looking definitely long term, and therefore 5 to 7 is the usual investment horizon that we look at. Okay, so how likely do you invest in a solo entrepreneur? It happened a few times, so it's definitely very likely. I think in the end of the day, it comes down to how well can you perform, right? If you actually apply with an idea or apply with your startup, and your startup generates revenue. Your startup has a lot of partnerships, a lot of user signups, and your product is already developed. Then even though you're a solo founder, which is usually not preferred, we would still, say consider it, right? We'll look into the details and check whether it really is interesting. But if it is, then of course we would consider that. And chances are quite high that if you tick all the boxes, we would invest. What are your 3 main criteria you'd select a founder to come through the interview? So I think, so when you fill out the form, you will see a few questions that will be rather tricky, right? And what we try to identify is mostly, so first of all, is your startup qualified, right? So if, for example, what would not be qualified is if you don't have a team, if you don't have a product, you don't have, like, you're at ideation stage. If you're in ideation stage, then you're too early. Then I would usually recommend checking out the Superstars program. But the Superstars program, the application deadline is already over. So you would have to wait for the next cohort, which starts in March. So that is like too early. If you are too late, then that, like, what is too late? Too late would be if you, let's say, are already generating multiple thousands of revenue, and you're looking at Series A stage, sort of, you're 20 people, right? You are maybe 10 to 20 people, and you're looking at high growth stage. Then consequently, your valuation is, I would say, probably around 10 to 30 million. That would be something that is just too far ahead for us. We'll be looking at, rule of thumb, we'll be looking at something below 10 million. That would be something that would fall under our range. And that's, like, I would say, criteria number 1, hard facts. Criteria number 2 is definitely the founder team. So who are behind the project? What are accomplishments? Why, did you become a founder? And then the third is, like, we have a few questions again in the form that you will have to fill out. And that form has a few questions on strategy, logic, and stuff like that. And then based on how you answer these questions, would filter out the probability of whether you're a successful founder. Would you do a combination of token and equity deals? Definitely. Definitely an option. Have you had any successful exits? Also very good question. So we had a few mergers. So a few of our startups were acquired by other Web3 startups. I guess that's, like, partially, you could say, an exit, right? We have not yet exited any of our investments, and we have made around 20 within our company building programs, and we have made 30 as syndicate investors. The 30 syndicate investment deals, they are from 2017. So that's exactly 6-7 years ago. And some of them are around Series B. So, imagine we go in pre-seed, they're now Series B. You do the math about the returns, but there's sort of the performance, and we have decided not to exit from many of them. But I guess it is close. I guess one would be quite close. Is the program completely remote, or are there any face-to-face interactions involved? The program itself is totally remote, but we will invite all our BFG affiliated investments, portfolio startups, partners, investors to a yearly event happening in Germany. So in case we actually invest in you, then you can definitely expect an invitation for next year to fly into Germany and meet our investors, meet our partners, and also other startups. When you invest 100K, besides the 100K, do you help founders with the okay, so hold on. when you invest besides the 100K, you help founders with what's the overall investment ticket size. It's 100K, and on top of that, we also provide you know, advisory. We give you access to our network, which is I guess our most important asset, and you know, just support you on the way, right? And support you on the way means legal, accounting, structuring, founder shareholder agreement, and all that stuff. So we have expertise in all these fields. If you need any help, that will be the whole package. Do you expect each founder to have an already fully developed product? Not really, right? But we would expect that you already have something at hand, right? Be it a fully developed product or just full-fledged MVP, right? And an MVP could be a Figma wireframe that is completely planned out. That will be the least we would expect. And on top of that, we would of course expect also sign-ups, potential wait lists, potential partners, and just a pipeline of potential stakeholders. Is 10 million already too high valuation for BFG? What if the first external investor invested at this valuation? So is 10 million already too high? I would say it's borderline high, right? Usually the benchmark is we invest at around 2 million, 3 million at most, right? So if you are 10 million, you better be really, really damn good at what you do, and you better be having your first revenues, right? And this follow-on question, what if the first investor invested at 10 million? Yeah, that really doesn't say anything, right? Because what we look out for is our valuations and what we deem as right and reasonable. So if there was an investor that went for 10 million and we quote 5 million, then it's your choice to do to accept the down round or move on with another investor. If I apply by myself, will you be able to match with somebody to form a project team? Not really. Again, if you are this early on, then we usually recommend joining the Superstars program, which is for super early stage teams and founders. But the Superstars program is already running, so it's too late to apply for that. If you're that early on, either you already have a startup sort of product and you have a vision, and then you can recruit somebody to join your team. We can help with that. But if you're super early on and you also don't have a co-founder, then I would say try to look out for an alternative, either an alternative program or for the season 5, which starts in March next year. What equity percentage are you looking to acquire for 100K? Usually we take around 3 to 10%, depending on the valuation. So if you're, I would say, super early, then we're looking at 1 million valuation, then we take 10%. If you're a bit further down the line, then it can go up to 3%. Would you consider the other current equity holders as co-founders? Not really. Like you could have an investor who gave, family and friends who gave you 10K. They would be equity holders, but they're not co-founders, right? So co-founders are to be determined by the majority shareholders, or co-founders are by definition people who are in the operations, right, in the management team. Okay, so let's see. Any more questions? Yeah, again, right. If you're too shy now, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. The QR code is here. I'll also display again the application link. You can scan this QR code, and then you will be forwarded to our application page where you can simply apply. Let me emphasize again: if you apply today, we will evaluate it today, and you'll get feedback today as well. If you, otherwise, you can apply until the 30th, and then we will be giving you feedback probably shortly after beginning of October. So there's another question. Is it okay for a company to have multiple sectors of income? So blockchain platform, canvas distribution, shoe brand, etc. So I think it really depends. Like if your company is a holding and has a lot of like ventures, then I guess that would be okay. But a shoe brand wouldn't be necessarily what we'd be looking at. So in the best case, you have one entity for one business, right? And that business has a blockchain component, right? That's what we are interested in. But that sounds interesting. We would, I mean, I would love to look into the details and then discuss that with the team, right? So generally, BFG is really, really flexible on anything. So if it makes sense, then usually we won't say no. Okay, perfect. Yeah, if there are not any more questions, then I guess happy to again catch up on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with anyone. And again, the deadline is September 30th. Very happy to see all the applications that we receive. In case there are any more questions, let me know via LinkedIn. Email works as well. And hopefully see you in October. So thanks for your time and